Welcome to another edition of Master Force with Shemsu-t. Today we will be having a wonderful conversation with someone that will help us to remember the importance of staying healthy during the winter months. Even though you may be enjoying your turkey and your sweet potato pie and all of your other festive foods for the season, we want you to remember that being healthy is most important. Now, before we get into that conversation, this is Thankful Thursday, and we want to thank the female solution. So let's bring them to the stage. Thank you.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
Yes, yes, yes. And even though it's the female solutions, we really do have to bring our brother Kings in with us to actually bring the balance, the knowledge, and the support that's required. So today we're going to bring to the stage my brother Samir Ali, who's going to be sharing with us some wonderful information. Hello, Samir. How are you?
Hello, Shemsu-t. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for joining us.
You look well.
You do too. It's always a pleasure to actually work with you, to talk with you. You know, we've had many conversations in the past, and I just want
Yes.
to thank you for always being available. I love introducing you to all of my different communities. So,
Thank you.
um,
I
will you?
appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Can you kind of give people a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into the conversation that we want to do today?
Sure, sure. So, my background is in natural holistic, health and medicines. Um, I am a certified biochemical nutritionist. So, what that means is that I've studied the digestive system in detail extensively, and I have a certification in it. So I deal with the elements of nourishment, how they affect the body, what foods, are for what organs, states of mind, supplements, exercises, breathing techniques. Um, so yeah, that's in a nutshell. It's pretty much what I
Wonderful.
do.
And you have been very generous with all of the people that I have sent your way, and they have made really great strides in understanding the importance of being the
Mhm.
authority in their own body. Based,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
what you
Hmm.
share.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's important. Um, people don't realize that um, we need doctors. It's okay to have them, but the main decision that you should make is to know that you have a choice and you should choose you first and
Mm,
educate yourself on your body. Who are you? What's your blood type? What are the elements in your zodiac chart? um, why do you wake up today and you feel so good, and then next week you feel like you don't want to get out of bed? Why did your mood change? People have to study themselves more. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
yeah. We do a
Definitely.
lot around the conversation of know thyself, don't we?
Yes, yes, we do.
Wonderful. Well, today you're actually wanting to introduce us to another topic. And let me bring the slides up. So we're going to be talking about the five elements. So
True.
yeah, so tell us about this piece of work here. What is important for us to know here?
So, um, you have five elements. So you have wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So wood, um, penetrates into the earth. Earth nourishes wood, um, you know, and then from earth you have metal. Metal, it kind of sweats, so it produces water. Water nourishes the wood. Um, and fire produces the earth. So these elements are like interchangeable with one another, and so these are like terms for different cycles that your body goes through, if that makes sense. So your body goes through these cycles just as the seasons are changing. So when the seasons are changing, you're changing also. You have a different energy in the springtime. You feel more alive. Everything is coming out of hibernation. It is, growing, it's budding. And then you're at full energy during the summertime. Then it kind of, starts to dissipate, come
Mhm.
fall season, late summer, fall season. And then we go into hibernation like everything else in nature. And then, after hibernation, then we have a rebirth, just like, in spring, everything comes back to life again, but have to hibernate properly to do that. So the five elements are the cycle in which we go through every year. And a lot of us don't know about it. If we did know about it, there would be less need for hospitals. People wouldn't be as sick as much either. They'll be a lot happier in their life.
Mhm.
Um, Things that they're trying to attract. Everyone wants to talk about manifesting and power of attraction. In all actuality, the only thing you have to attract is being in a good state of health, and everything else will be drawn to you. You know,
Mm.
uh,
Mhm.
so it happens naturally. Like the bird doesn't get up and meditate manifesting worms. It knows that the worms are a natural part of its eating cycle. So it knows the worms are going to be provided for. It doesn't have to like over focus on the worm,
Right.
so on and so forth. Now we have a different system, of course, because, we're humans and everything else, but we are, excuse me, we are only in need of getting in tune back with ourselves, and then we will realize that the true governance of our inner universe actually is the blueprint, and it is the command center for the outer universe that we're living in.
Okay.
So
So then when you're talking about the elements here, right? Or not the element, yeah, the elements here,
mhm,
we're actually looking at the importance of each element and gaining some insight on how that's going to affect us. Is
this
that
is correct. This is
mhm.
correct. Um, if you know the season, then you know which organs are being affected by the season. You know what I mean? Um,
No, I don't know what you mean. You have to talk to
so
me like a
no, no,
okay.
I know you. So
I
I
think
mean,
I
in
know
the
what you
sense of,
mean, but
what I'm saying in that part of it.
yes,
So
yes, yes.
in the springtime, we're dealing with the wood element. The wood element governs the liver and gallbladder. Now,
Mhm.
for each of those, there's a yin and a yang. So your liver is like storage. It holds blood. It holds nourishment. It purifies. It's like a reserve of blood. So that would be the yin. And then the gallbladder, like with the term, you have the gall to do something. So like your confidence and your courage comes from your gallbladder. So when you have like a healthy gallbladder, that's a sign that you've had a healthy liver that was, in balance. So the gallbladder can execute what the liver was storing up. Um, and so, that's in the springtime, which makes sense because in the springtime, we come out of the winter time and we spring forth with all of what we have accumulated in the winter time. So it's part of the cycle. Then we go into the summertime, where we're at full power. And that's dealing with, fire. Your fire is there. You have your heart and your small intestine, which is also known as the triple burner. So in the summertime, your blood vessels, your tongue it's categorized with the emotion of joy. The wood emotion is anger, because anger affects your liver, and it's part of your creativity. When you're dealing with the wood element, you're in hibernation, and this is the time where you're less active, um, in the sense that of releasing things. This is the time for storing things up. You're regaining strength. It's like a new chapter. So you've come out of the chapter of one season, of all four of the seasons. Then when you go back to the wintertime, you're storing up and you're in hibernation to come into more realization, more accumulation of knowledge, more accumulation of self, more accumulation of consciousness and awareness. And you go through that season, with nourishing your cells. You try to control your anger. You do a lot of reflection, introspection, and it strengthens your tendons, your ligaments. It's part of growth and expansion and compassion.
Right.
And then come the springtime, when it's time to let all of that out. That comes after you come out of that. So that gets into your fire. Because it's starting to produce more energy. The fire is the energy. It deals with your heart and your small intestine. Your small intestine is where your body absorbs all the nutrients that you eat from your stomach. That's the summertime, and it deals with your solar plexus chakra. It involves your blood vessels. You know, you want to deal with things of taste, so it involves your tongue, because everything is growing. All your fruits and your vegetables are coming out, so you're happy. It's like joy. You're out of the hibernation. You're a new person now. You've come out of the hibernation. You come out of the meditation and the accumulation of self, and you're kind of stilling your mind. Then here comes summer. So now it's categorized with joy. You have this is a new chapter of you. You're not the same person you were last year. You're a new person this summer, and next summer you hope to be a better new, or you discover more about yourself.
So
So
you're
late.
so you're saying you're saying that that if we were paying attention, right,
Mhm.
and we actually allowed ourselves to move through the seasons the way
Yes.
that the way that nature moves through seasons, we
Right.
could actually see ourselves grow in a certain way year after year after year, taking on new levels of ourselves.
This is correct. So let's take a fruit tree, for instance. It takes 2 years for fruit to bear on a fruit tree. So that's a lot of patience that that tree has to have. Um, so that's the wood element. It's nourishing itself from the earth. And then every winter, it goes into hibernation. It has no attachment to its beauty. It has no attachment to its branches. It has no attachment to its leaves. It just knows that it wants to keep growing. And in order to keep growing, you have to shed something. And so those trees constantly shed the old them, and then they go into hibernation and meditation, and they pull from deep reserves within the earth. They bear the stillness, they embrace the cold, and then when all of that is over, they spring forth, and then now they are experiencing and expressing to us in the universe as a benefit the new growth version of themselves. They've grown maybe a few inches. They're producing fruit now that can nourish other people because they went through the cycles properly. Nature is telling us just how we should be. If you just but look at the trees, you could learn a
Wow.
whole lot about ourselves. So we
But wait,
are,
I cut you off. So we can start back where you were. I had cut you off because you were finishing up the summer. So then,
yeah. So the way that it goes, um, you know, if you are in tune with, these um, with these cycles, it's like mother nourishes the child, grandparent restrains the grandchild, so on and so forth. So, like I was saying, with wood produces fire, fire, um, ashes produces the earth, earth produces metal, metal produces water, water produces wood. So they go right into each other. And if you look at the seasons, you see they go right into each other
yeah,
flawlessly.
yeah.
They go right into each other. And so if you're in tune, you
Mm-hmm.
go right into those seasons with them. So each season has 3 months. So there's a beginning, a middle, and an end of each season. So if you're in tune with yourself, notice your energy, the energy in the atmosphere, how other people are behaving. It's just sort of like on a Thursday night, people start to really come alive on Thursday night because they know the weekend is coming. And so
That's so true.
you'll see a lot of activity in people on Thursday because they're so happy it's Thursday because they know tomorrow is Friday. So their mind automatically goes into it's the weekend mode. And so they have hibernated all week. So Monday is like wintertime to people. And it's like, oh, I don't, it's Monday, because the expression of the weekend is over. So it's Monday, and then it's Tuesday, then it's hump day, which is Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a psychological thing, but actually you should be embracing all of these days as a natural cycle, even like during the week is or just every day. So when you go to sleep, that's like your winter time.
Mm.
And then when you wake up, that's your spring. And then when you actually get out of your house to go to work and start your day, that's your summer. And then you get ready to get off work, that's your fall, your autumn. And then the time it takes from when you get home to go back to bed, that's your winter time.
Wow.
So when
Okay.
you look at it like that, you will see Monday is not, oh, it's Monday. No, be glad it's a Monday because you have exerted all of this energy and all of yourself. You have to put that back in hopes to gain more. So when the next weekend comes, you're expressing even more. Like it never ends. So you don't need the caffeine and coffee. You don't need that drink to feel like you're happy or living life. Um, you stop worrying about, having enough money or what's your purpose in life because you're in tune with nature, like everything else in nature. I'm sure the animals and the insects look at human beings and just shake their head.
In the stars, in
The
the
star, right? It's
them
like,
too, and shake their head like if you only knew.
right. It's like
Just, yeah.
you are inside of all of this and you've been witnessing this whole repeated cycle all of your life and you still can't get it.
Mm.
So we are out of tune with ourselves because we're out of tune with nature. We're out of balance. And then we vibrate differently than the way nature intended for us to vibrate.
Now, you know what's interesting about what you're saying is that people keep saying, what's wrong with our children? What's wrong with our
Hmm.
children? And what's wrong with our children is us.
Yeah, it's
Because
part
if
of it.
we
Yeah.
would learn what you're talking about right now,
Hmm.
then we would take a more generous opportunity to feed into our children this type of knowledge.
Yes.
And I'm sure, like just like you're talking about how the days are in this cycle, life itself, because when a child is born, is that considered summer? What I mean, are these different time periods in our life as we grow? Are those time periods part of that cycle as well?
So when you get into the type of season someone was born in, that's when it becomes so unique in and of itself. Because some people love the wintertime.
I'm a winter baby.
Yes, some people love the spring. My favorite season is fall.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I was born in the summer, but my favorite season is fall.
Hmm.
So you have to also pay attention to that.
Yeah,
Why
my
do you
favorite
come
season is
alive?
fall. Yeah.
Right.
I
Why
just
do
like
you?
fall because of the colors.
Yeah. For me, it's a certain type of um, aroma in
Yeah.
the
The
air.
woods burning. Absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
something going on with it because the trees have given all of their oxygen for the summer, and they're giving like the last of that transitioning of whatever's coming from that. And now the leaves that have turned their colors and have fallen, they are giving off a certain,
Aroma. Yeah.
aroma, and I
Mhm.
don't know what kind of oxygen. It's not detrimental. So there's another benefit to the oxygen coming from leaves after they have fallen from the trees.
I just looked at a video that said we should not be raking up the leaves because it's part of the nutrition for the trees.
I can believe that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yes,
I can believe that. But
yes.
I
It's part
mean,
of the nourishment. It's because that's how life, again, part of the cycle. The leaves drop off so they can
right.
nourish the roots in the wintertime. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
that makes
It's
a
a
lot.
lot of things we don't know about. Yeah, so you have your wood, your fire, your earth, your metal, and your water. And then water back to wood. So wood deals with the liver and the gallbladder, your eyes, and it deals with the heart chakra. Um, it's in the springtime, and it deals with like growth and expansion and compassion.
Hmm.
Um, so that is, your time of introspection. So right now, um, then afterwards, you have summertime, which is the heart, small intestine, that deals with the solar plexus and sacral chakra, which is vitality, joy, creativity, because we come alive in the summertime. Everyone comes alive,
Hmm.
what we say when the weather breaks, so when the weather breaks, we got to get back out there. It's like, we have a need to express ourselves. We have to
Yeah,
express ourselves.
yes.
Um, and then you have earth, which deals with the spleen and the stomach. It's in late summer, and this is the transition, you know, like this is the transition. Everything is getting ready to make that shift now. It's like, okay, it's like a regulator. Express yourself, but don't overdo it.
Mm.
Do it just enough for it to be within the cycle, within the time, because it's not just your summer. It's not summer for you. It's summer for the entire planet. It's summer for everything in nature. So everything in nature does what it has to do in that time frame, and then it understands the cycle. Now I'm going into the next cycle. So you have your root chakra, which is late summer. That's the spleen, the stomach. That's earth that deals with the root chakra. That's grounding, nourishment, stability. Then after that, you go into autumn, you go into fall. That's your metal. That deals with your lungs and large intestine. That's your throat chakra. That's communication. Okay, that's clarity, communication. In the fall, you're communicating. And fall is usually when people start looking for a significant other in their life, or
Oh, that's
they're
cuffing season. That's cuffing season. Come on.
exactly. It's right. Because when you hibernate, you want to hibernate with someone. You know, every insect, every mammal understands cuddling. You can have a deeper sleep cuddled next to someone, which is why a lot of people have cats and dogs. But you can have a deeper sleep cuddling next to someone and a more sound sleep than if you slept by yourself. If you slept 8 hours by yourself, you could probably sleep half of that cuddled up to somebody and still feel fully rested.
Yeah.
There's
That
a
now,
power in that,
there's
right?
power. Yeah, that's what I did a lot of studies on sleep. And one thing that they do say is that you get the best sleep when you're sleeping next to someone that you really love and care about.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yes. And granted, it's reciprocated. They feel the same way. So that
Mhm.
deals with your lungs and your large intestine. That's in the autumn, the fall time. That deals with your throat chakra. That's communication, release. And then you have your water element, which deals with your kidneys and bladder. And so we're coming out of the metal element and going into the water element.
Now, before you go into water, because
Hmm.
we're just at the halfway mark of our show, because this is where we're going to get into the tips for the winter, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So before we go into water, we're going to take a little bit of a commercial break.
Sure,
But
sure.
but what I wanted to emphasize is that this season, when we're in the, you called it the transitional season,
Hmm.
you hear how many people are getting sick. You hear people talking about, oh, I got the flu, I have these things,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, and it's because of something that they didn't do, and it might have been that they did too much, like you're saying, you have to pull back.
Right,
So is that some of what makes people, and now you have everybody pushing to go get the flu vaccine,
right.
yeah.
So as long as we're in tune with the way it's intended for us to be on the same frequency with nature, you probably would never experience any type of sickness in your life. It'll be very rare that you do become sick or fall ill.
Hmm.
Because when you're in tune with your frequency, your nourishment of your body, the seasons, what foods you should and shouldn't eat based on the season, the type of activities, that complement the season that you're in, the activities, all of that, uh, you're going to have a natural happiness about your life and
Mm.
satisfaction that is going to make your immune system so powerful that the energy of your own immune system and your own psyche and consciousness is going to check you when you're going out of it.
Wow.
So it will keep you on alignment as long as you are saying, listen, I know that you were created to cut grass.
Hmm.
So I am not going to start you up and have that blade spinning so you can cut tree branches
Hmm.
because you weren't designed to cut tree branches. That's what a chainsaw is for. You were designed to cut grass, and to cut grass effectively, I'm going to use you to cut grass. I'm not going to say that because you can cut that I'm going to have a party and I'm going to lawnmower all of my vegetables, and that's a way of cutting them.
Very cool. All right, we'll be right back.
Sure.
All right, we're talking to Brother Samir Ali, and we're getting some tips on being healthy for the winter time, right?
Yes, yes.
Now,
Well, for each time, but yes, wintertime in particular.
each time, right?
Right,
So, yeah. So, one of the things that you were mentioning earlier is about being tuned in enough that we know and understand what things we should use for the right occasion, right?
right, correct.
Yes. So now we're moving into what you said is the fall, the no, we're moving into the winter.
Into the winter. Okay. So we have to focus on our kidneys and our bladder because this is water. Because if you think about the fact that snow in and of itself is just water, so like
Yes.
it's a excess amount of water. So again, this is why even having water made from snow is very good for you, as long as it is in a good environment like the mountains or something like that. Um, so the water element, which is the kidney and gallbladder, foods that are salty in flavor, dark, black in color, dark blues, like your black beans, seaweed, walnuts are good, bone broth, and warming soups. So your black colored foods, which would be black sesame seeds, black rice, mushrooms, seaweed. Your salty foods in moderation would be like miso, which is a Chinese type of soup, sea salt, kelp, mineral rich broths. Your nuts and seeds that you would take would be like walnuts, chestnuts, sunflower seeds. Those really strengthen the kidney essence. Animal based products, because meat produces heat. So you need more
Mm,
heat. You have to have, that's why it's good to eat more meat during the winter time because it produces so much heat. So bone broth, fish is very good. Of course, you have to watch out for the mercury. So research that. Shellfish, if that's your thing. Warming foods that keep you warm, like lamb, chicken, ginger, cinnamon. Those support kidney yang. Um, Hydrating foods, pears, watermelons, cucumbers, foods that grow in the winter, like winter gourds. Those are very good for you. Then you have your legumes, kidney beans, adzuki beans, which is very good and tasty. That's that also. And then you have like kiwi and celery. Celery strengthens the kidneys, high in magnesium. The sodium in celery is converted into synovial fluid, which is the fluid in all of your joints. So celery is very good during this time in the winter time. Celery. and kiwi. Kiwi helps to strengthen your kidneys, keeps your colon cleansed, and you're going to need your colon cleansed with all of the meat that you're going to be consuming.
Yes.
I would recommend once or twice a week you eat some type of red meat, whether it be lamb or beef or whatever. I don't recommend pork because everyone knows that's a filthy animal, but if that's your thing, but then if you're going to have that, you have to have foods to help to digest all of that meat, like pineapple juice has the enzyme bromelain in it that helps to digest animal protein. Kiwi is excellent for digesting animal protein. Ginger, excellent for digesting animal protein. And papaya is excellent for digesting animal protein. So with the meat, have your celery, have your kiwi, your ginger, and your other foods that strengthen the kidneys while you're in hibernation, while you're, accumulating and reflecting on everything that have done or said over the spring and summer and in the fall, what type of person you are, what did you learn about yourself. All of that is introspection in the summer. What are you trying to accomplish, going forward? That's what you bring into your meditation, shedding different behavior. Maybe you would reflect on how you responded to something. And you may say to yourself, I could have handled that differently. Or what was another way I could have handled it, even though I didn't handle it improperly? Expand your mind. If you wrote a paper for school or you gave a speech and everyone loved the speech, challenge yourself. How could I have said that differently and it's still been as effective? Expand everything and bring that into your meditation of improvement, kind of refrain from exerting yourself or exerting power, being on social media as much. Try bringing in more knowledge, reading more books, listening to more healing frequencies, research a new hobby or something like that. That's what the wintertime is for. And if you look at the trees in nature, the bird, you don't see the birds out flying, although now things are so messed up. You see birds flying at night and you see they don't even hibernate in the wintertime anymore. That's like weird to me. But then you have,
So what do you mean they don't hibernate in the wintertime?
well,
They,
the old saying is that birds
I thought
migrate,
they flew. I thought they
yeah,
flew. Yeah, flew
south
south.
for the
Yeah.
winter, yeah, for the winter. But now you're seeing birds in the wintertime. It's like a weird thing. I'm not saying a whole lot of them, but it's almost like that. Some of them don't hibernate, don't migrate, not hibernate, migrate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as nature is doing it, so should you.
Yes.
So you see the squirrels, they're getting ready for the wintertime because it's a time of preserving energy. It's a time for stillness, meditation. It's a time for going inside and facing the hard truths about yourself. What is it about myself I don't like? Um, why did I lie to that person? Why wasn't I honest? Why am I lying to myself? Why do I fear this? Why do I act like I don't fear it? Why do I avoid this type of learning? Why am I so excessive in playing a video game or lounging? Or why do I feel like I'm trying to get to my next moment before the moment even gets here?
Mm.
And then that moment isn't enough. And then when that moment is over, then I'm irritated and agitated because I can't over indulge in that moment. These are the things you take into meditation with yourself so that you can become a better, stronger person. So then when spring comes, you have done just like the trees. You've shed all of that old stuff.
Yes.
You let go of every one of those single leaves. You didn't hold on to one leaf in the wintertime. You let all of it go. That's like complete annihilation in the process of growing, of being better. You know, today you were a drop. Next year you were part of a pond. Then you from that pond you became a lake, and then you turned into an ocean.
Wow. Mhm.
But we
Yeah.
get so caught up in the drop, and then when the drop evaporates or it spills or it's not quenching our thirst, then we got to have something to smoke, something to drink, somebody to be in love with. We got to have a certain materialistic possession. We got to make more money. We got to go take a trip and travel to fill that void because we didn't turn that drop into the pond, into the lake, into the ocean.
You know, when you were talking, I actually saw that same rhythm, when we're children, teenagers, adults, and then I'm in the winter of my life. And I
Hmm.
have naturally become a recluse.
Yep, exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean, I can't make myself,
right.
travel like I used to. It's like, and I enjoy being in my own space so much that, sometimes I do go out just, to remember that I can go out. But also, I was thinking about, how we reflect at this time on our life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You
Yeah, we
know,
do.
have I actually expressed all of myself? What else is there that I like to express? And then,
Right.
even though I've been a vegetarian most of my life, and
Mm-hmm.
we come from a fall after I fell, I had to start eating meat. And so I
Yeah,
started eating, a steak and, having a steak once a month. And then, I'll add
right.
lamb or chicken or whatever. But because your body is doing something different after 60, isn't it, Samir? So we have to add those things, and when I eat meat, I eat it I don't eat meat and potato, right? I
Right.
eat it with
And
the,
proper food combined, right.
right.
Exactly. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. But that just so then I can see as I'm in the winter cycle, I'm preparing to go into whatever is next on the other side and start over
Hmm.
again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
That's
know what? It's funny how when you're a child, you feel it. What's natural to do, what comes natural. You kind
yes.
of feel it, but then you're a child, but then everybody else is doing something different. So you start thinking, well, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing because that's what
Mhm.
everybody else is doing. Or somebody say to you, oh, why aren't you out doing this? Or why aren't you doing this? Or why aren't you? But that's not what you're feeling. And so you
Mhm.
don't know how to defend that just yet. So you get caught up in the cycle of practicing being out of balance. And that's what messes us up, you know?
Well, and that's, we were talking about this the other day, the influence of
Mhm.
social media and
Right.
games, and it has totally changed the trajectory of how happy our children will be when they get older.
Yes. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's a lot. Well, a lot of that, there's so many different uh, entry points into us because, each chakra is an entry point. We
hmm
have the channels, 12 meridians, those are entry points.
yeah,
Um, Someone can be having a positive or negative conversation about you, not even in your presence. It could be halfway around the world, and somehow you're going to feel that. You're
yes,
going to feel that,
yeah,
And so we have so many. We're like a huge antenna that has many antennas connected to it, and so you have, all these energy points that can receive any type of energy, and then you're left with processing that, and without proper knowledge and guidance you're vulnerable or susceptible to falling victim of not reading the signs correctly,
mm,
and we'll get so messed up behind that, and then some people know something's not right, and then you'll find them reading books and then They'll start studying religion, or they'll go
Yes.
and study some other doctrine, or they'll start drinking, and you'll see them by themselves, and they always looking serious, like they're upset or mad, but they're searching for answers
Yes, they are.
because they're struggling with that energy inside of them that's telling them something's not right. They don't know what it is. They don't know how to express it, but
Well,
something's not right.
that's right. I think that's why we have different traumatic experiences in our life, because it's not
Hmm.
until we have those experiences that we do stop and say, wait a minute, what's going on? And we'll
Right.
go deeper into ourselves to look for an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
But if we
Exactly.
don't go deeper into ourselves to look for an
Right.
answer, we usually leave this planet a lot sooner.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
That and just everything else. So everything, is designed to distract you from that natural cycle.
Yes.
It's not natural to desire playing video games. And I have nothing against it, but because it addresses the reward center in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an indoctrination.
Yep.
You're not a Navy SEAL assassin, but you can be rewarded with the image or an avatar of believing that you are on a cartoon mission,
Mm.
killing other people on some secret mission. So now this false energy because becomes the energy you betray, or portray or personify into the world when it's really not you at all.
But that's the whole education
You
system
know,
of reward and punishment.
right? Yeah, reward. So
Yeah.
you're vicariously living through a video game, which is an imitation of real life.
Yes.
And so, who's the real you with real substance? Because your identity is based on a cartoon, is
Mm.
based on something that didn't really happen. This is not something that's actually taking place in the world. This is happening on a small screen, and it has, consumed all of. But it's a very dangerous thing. Um, but we have to be like those trees, and we have to drop every single leaf. Let it
Mm.
go. Even if it's a relationship, let it go. If
Yeah.
it's a bad food and it's your favorite food, let it go.
Hmm.
If it's a bad habit, if it's a bad behavior, drop that leaf, let it go, and be done with it. So when that leaf drops, a new leaf can grow in its place,
Absolutely.
giving off different oxygen and taking in, carbon dioxide or whatever it exchanges. I'm being metaphorical here,
Yeah.
but you have to let it go. And we get so attached to it because we're saying that each one of these leaves is just who I am. And so you never grow.
Yeah. And I know we're getting close to where we need to summarize, but the one other thing that we don't teach our sons is that in the wintertime, ejaculation is a very dangerous thing. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. So I'm glad you brought that up because if you're in a relationship with a woman and she is still having a cycle, when she's on her cycle, her body is detoxing itself.
Hmm.
It's purging, it's dropping the leaves. As a man, you should refrain from having intercourse with her, and you should be nourishing your body and putting back into your body what you have been letting out when she wasn't on her cycle.
Mm.
That way, you guys are in tune with each other. Now, in the wintertime, you should have less ejaculations. The wintertime is when you're trying to store up energy so you'll have the strength for spring and summer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you exert and deplete all of that, then you won't be as full of life come the summertime. Um, so that's when the 3 to 4 times a week having intercourse comes into play during the wintertime. The wintertime is when you hibernate. That's when you're in the gym. You're hitting the weights even more. So when the summertime comes, you get to show off everything you've done in the gym, all your exercises. You've been practicing your yoga. So men have to preserve their life essence by not having so many ejaculations in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And they have to learn how to, and this is hard, and I know it's a foreign concept, but they have to learn how to internally ejaculate.
Yes.
Okay.
There's
And
some
that
books.
sounds crazy,
No, you're gonna have to come back on that show because
but we're going to have to come back to that one.
Daniel
That's
Reed,
a
yeah,
different
there's a
show.
lot of good books out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
as we move into the last few minutes, you've given us quite a bit. And you know what, Samir, what I love about this is that we're inviting people to do their own research,
yes.
to
Yes.
study themselves. And we're giving them this is a good time to study in the wintertime.
Yes.
You know,
Accumulation of all of your knowledge. Learn these things. Don't just say, I don't feel right in my stomach, or I'm having frequent headaches, or my shoulder's been hurting me. I just kind of live with it. It's just one of those things with aging or whatever. No, go and see if one of your elements, one of your organs, or one of your chakras is off balance. And what should you be doing? Are you excessively doing something that could have affected your natural frequency that aligns you with nature?
mm-hmm.
Stay in tune with yourself.
And a lot of times shoulders have to do with trying to carry the weight of the world on your shoulder.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like you said, let it go.
Drop all the leaves, let them go.
Let them go.
And
Let the
it's so
world.
beautiful and
Yes.
colorful. When it's time to let go, you see the beauty of letting go, because the leaves go from green to yellow or red, and then they turn brown and they fall. So they go through a colorful transition, releasing what's no longer them. Mm-hmm. And if we could only embrace that process, we would be so much better.
Yes. And then, I do invite everyone to order this book, The 5 Elements Wellness Plan.
Yes.
I think you gave me this title maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but
Yeah.
I have been implementing pieces of it. I had already been doing some of it, but it really is a plan for health. And then we need to share it with our younger people. We need to raise our grandchildren around understanding this. So tell us more about the significance of understanding Chinese medicine in this wellness plan.
On a basic level, just know that the body is one whole unit and it's not separate from one another. Mm-hmm. And so when something is affected, it is a sign that something else has already been affected and is showing up in this part of your body, whether internally or externally. If you can understand that, and then when you get into the elements, because we're made up of all these elements, we're made up of fire. Everyone knows that. We're made up of air. We're made up of earth and water. These elements are in us, which is why I get into the zodiacs, especially with the Chinese zodiacs and the elements, and the Western, zodiacs, because they're dealing with elements, which is dealing with a season. So like right now, this is November, so we're going into Capricorn. Am I correct, or is it
Sagittarius first?
We're going into Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is the beginning of the wintertime element,
Mm-hmm.
which is the water element.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've asked people in other countries, they don't have that stigmatism about zodiac signs being taboo like we do in America.
Oh, it's because it's a controlling element. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't want you to know.
they
Right.
they go into this thing because I met people from Germany. Know, of course, I know people who are Asian and India and all that. They don't have that, oh, that's forbidden knowledge or anything like that. And when you look at it in the form of elements, so you have your earth element, fire element, water element, air elements. These are seasons.
Yeah.
Each one of these elements is a season. Um, but you can have a mixture of seasons. So, you know, Sagittarius is a fire element that's existing in the wintertime.
Mm.
So there's a uniqueness there. So Cancer is a water element that exists in the summertime, which is
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the heart chakra and the summer element, which is fire. So pay attention to these things, learn thyself, learn about these elements and what organs in your body they affect and how to nourish, what diets you should be eating to nourish these elements that are inside of you and at what times of the day and, during what seasons of the year. You'll feel so much better if you just released what, you know, someone convinced you was real knowledge and just try it for yourself, um,
Mm-hmm.
in the perspective of health. So, you'll have a broader sense of being in tune with nature as it is intended to be.
And then, what would you say for people? What do they need to do for their immune system as we move into this? Is there some supplements or something they need to be mindful of?
Yeah. So this is accumulation. So, you want to store things up. So this is the time where you want to have a lot of vitamin C, which is the kiwi I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure your bones are strong because you're going to be wearing heavier clothing, which is the celery, which strengthens your bones, I mentioned. Um, you're going to be eating a lot of meat to produce heat, which, is aided by the ginger, the celery, and the kiwi. So that those are the things that are going to strengthen your kidneys, strengthen your bones, and produce more heat. That's on a basic level. That's going to keep your immune system strong because you're in tune with nature during that time. And then you have vitamin D. You have to have vitamin D because you're not going to be out in the sun as much. So vitamin D is complemented by a magnesium complex. Um, and make sure your vitamin D has K2 in it, which is a coagulation property, but it helps, for you to assimilate the vitamin D better. Magnesium makes sure that the calcium and the vitamin D goes straight into your bones.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to increase your calcium. So that would be like goat's milk. That would be like your plant milks for calcium. But take your vitamin D with K2, your magnesium. Take all of that at nighttime with your calcium. Take that at night so your body is regenerating. You're going to the gym, and then when you wake up, you're feeling good. You've had your magnesium, you had your vitamin D, so that will last you in case you can't go out in the sun or get as much sunlight. So yeah, vitamin D, vitamin C, magnesium, and
But
in the
that's the we. Yeah.
daytime,
Yep. In the daytime, what?
take your B vitamin complex. And when you say B vitamins complex, people say, "Well, I take B12." That's one vitamin out of
Yeah,
the
you need the
complex.
complex.
The
Yes.
the complex is, you know, B1, B2, B3,
B6.
B6,
Mm.
B9, and then B12, and then you have inositol, you have the PABA, you have choline bitrate. So make sure it has all of the B vitamins with vitamin C. If it doesn't come with vitamin C, then take a vitamin C supplement separately. But vitamin
Wonderful.
C, yeah, and B vitamins in the daytime, and then your magnesium, vitamin D3 with K2, and calcium at night.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Brother Samir, so much. We're going
Anytime.
to get you back. We have other so many things
Yes,
to talk about. So I really appreciate you taking time for this, and for everyone else that has joined us. Enjoy
sure.
your holy days with your family, and we will be back next week with another edition of Master Force with Shemsu-t.